Hello, how you doing? Hope you're doing really well. So today I've got a brand new plugin for you, a new amp sim plugin by the wonderful guys at Neural DSP. This one is an archetype, so it's based around one particular artist. In this case, it is Tom Morello. Now, he comes with no introduction. We do not need to tell you about his track record and what he is famous for. We know what he does, but what I want to do in this video is just take you through the plugin and show you a few examples, and also just show you where I think the plugin really excels, because it has some really special stuff in it. Okay, let's jump right in. Let's start with a quick overview of the plugin. So I'm just going to try and run through this very quickly so we can get on to listening to it, because that's probably the most important part, really. Now, you've only got one amp in here. It's just his amp, his Marshall, the one that he used on countless records. And I mean, I say it's just a Marshall, it's a fantastic sounding Marshall. So it's one of the best that I've heard, actually. So it's pretty simple. You've got two channels with a clean and a boost. I'm going to mainly be using the boost today because that's where all of the fun stuff happens. Then actually where the real fun stuff happens is actually in the pedals. I'm going to get through those as this unfolds. So you've got two different pedal sections here. Now, it's worth mentioning that these actually run through the effects loop. So that's how he would generally have things set up, which means that they come after the preamp section but before the power amp section. So anyway, just quickly, you've got a whammy pedal. We know what that does, and you've heard it on lots of his records. You've got a wah-wah pedal, and then in the second section we've got delay, an EQ, and a phaser. Now, additionally, you've also got over here, you've got a dive bomb pedal as well, which is super exciting, and I'm going to get to that one very soon. A few more effects. If we just go to the end here, you've also got an additional delay and a reverb. Both of these are absolutely killer. And well, you know what, Neural DSP, they always have really nice pedals, and this is not different for this plugin. Then you also have an EQ. So this is post amp, if you like, and post cab. It's pretty much post everything, really. So same way that Neural usually do this. So you've got another EQ there, and of course you have the cab section. Now this, they modeled his cab, so you've got Tom Morello's cab that he used on all of those records. A whole tasty selection of microphones to choose from, and additionally you can bring in your own IRs as well, because we know everybody likes to do that, so it's very good that they've got the option in there. Right, lastly, just a few global functions. This is most of what the Neural DSP stuff has anyway, but just to run through it, you've got your input, you've got a gate, you've got a transpose, which is really cool. So that's transposing the signal before it goes into the amp. This part is the doubler section, which is only available if you're running it in stereo. So if you're in stereo, you'll have the option to turn it on, and then you can just adjust the spread. Got all your presets where you can save, you've got your output, and then down here we've got MIDI mappings, so in case you want to route some of those pedals, like the whammy and the wah and the dive bomb pedal, you can route that to either an expression foot pedal or even an expression wheel on a keyboard. So that's really useful too. Last but not least, the good old tuner. Everybody wants the tuner and needs the tuner. Now, what I've done is I've already inserted this. I've done a little bit of tweaking, and this is ready to go on my rhythm guitars. Let's just have a very quick listen to those. Okay, lovely. Now, I'm glossing over this just a little bit because I want to give you just a little bit of a taster of it, but now I'm going to show you where it really does excel. So we're going to have a look at some of the pedals. Now, I've got a bit of a solo here, which I think is a really good example of what it can do. So let's look at the first chunk of pedals. I'm going to leave these ones for the next example. So to start off with, we're going to have a little bit of phaser, EQ, and delay. The phaser is just lovely. Actually, you can control the speed here. That's the only function it has. The only control, rather. Fantastic delay. Again, just a few controls on there. Your mix knob, your time, which will go from slowest to fastest, and then feedback, which of course will increase or decrease the feedback. So let's just nudge in a little bit of that so you can get an idea. it's like a 7-band EQ you've got here. So all I've done is I've just kind of dipped a little bit out that I didn't want, and basically I'm just using this to just to sculpt the sound a little bit, sculpt it into the mix. You've got all the bands there, and then you've got a level control as well. So if you do lose a little bit of level from cutting some of those bands out, you can always boost that back in. Okay, so I mean an EQ is an EQ. We know how that works. But what I do like a lot is this dive bomb pedal. Now this is really fun, and this is the typical Tom Morello sound. This is where you get the cool shit. So let's engage that, and I'll just tell you a little bit about what this does. So you've got the up and down switch. So remember with dive bomb, it glides up or down to the note. So if you go up, it's going to glide up 12 semitones or an octave. And if you go down, it's going to glide down 12 semitones or an octave. And then the expression pedal, this that you can drive up and down, that will determine how quickly it takes for the note to glide up or down to its destination. So if you have it all the way down, it's going to glide up very quickly. It's going to be a little bit more subtle. If it's way on the top there, it's going to go much slower, and it's got to be, I guess, that much more fun. But you adjust it depends on how much you want. So let's just have a quick listen to that. I've got it in the up position, so it's going to be gliding upwards at the moment. Very nice, and we'll just have a little listen with it going down as well. As you can tell, you can get some really bonkers sounds out of that. I mean, that is the idea. So I'm just going to nudge that in just a little bit because I really like what it's doing. And let's just have a quick before and after just so you can hear what those pedals are doing. I'm going to listen in the context of the mix as well so you can hear a little bit about what's going on. That's really very nice indeed. I love those pedals a lot. There's a lot of fun that can be had from those. If you are liking this video, help a brother out and hit the old like and subscribe, and you'll get a notification of any upcoming videos. That's if you hit the notification bell as well, of course. Also, if you sign up to the main list, I'll send you some free stuff. It will be a EQ cheat sheet and some one-shot drum hits that you can use in your mixes, and they're all for free, Okay, let's continue to look at some more of the pedals. So I'm going to show you what the part sounds like just so you have a little bit of an idea. Here it comes. Okay, you get the idea. So with that, all I was doing was I was playing just through the amp, so nothing else was actually coming out there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a look at some of these other pedals we've got. So the whammy pedal. So you've got two different options here. You've got either the wham or the detune. So if you're in wham, then it's in whammy mode, which means that it's going to be setting the pitch range from -24 to +24 semitones, so that's like 2 octaves up and down. And if you're doing detune, then it's going to be detuning the signal, of course, by 100 cents plus or minus. Okay, so you've got like a bunch you can play with there. We're going to go on the whammy section because I really like that. And the last thing just to mention on here is the actual whammy pedal itself. So if you have it all the way to the bottom, it's going to be essentially limiting the pitch range. So if you have it all the way to top, it's going to do the full pitch range that you have set. So I've got the range set to be plus 12 semitones. You can have that go all the way up to 24 if you like, which is very cool. I'm going to go with 12. But if you decrease that, then it means that it's not going to go to the full range. So if we just have a little listen to that, you'll get an idea of what it sounds like. I'm just going to engage that for you halfway through. Really good. Now, one thing to be said about this is it tracks really, really well. So it is like playing through a pedal. It's really, really quite fantastic. Now, what I like about this pedal, additionally, is you have this blend control. So you can just bring in, just nudge in a little bit of that sound to add to the flavor. So let's try that. Let's start with it off and then bring it in. I really like that. Now, of course, if you want to go down the Tom Morello route, if you go to +7, that's basically a fifth. So then you get the sound when he was doing on Know Your Enemy, for example. So let's try that, and you'll see what that sounds like too. Doesn't really fit for this particular song, but it's cool to have the option. So next up, you've got the wah wah pedal as well. You can activate it by engaging this button here, and let's just have a quick listen to that. Of course, you can assign this to any expression pedal as well you have, so you can actually do that in real time. I'm just going to do it with the mouse for now. Very cool. Now what I'm going to do in this case, I'm actually going to try some of these other effects. So this is like post, like the post section of the plugin essentially. So let's have a little bit of the delay, a little bit of the reverb. The reverb is really, really nice actually. And a bit of delay. And they are just lush, really lush sounding effects. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the other effects that we had in there. I know we've gone through those already, but I wanted a little bit of phaser and just to adjust the EQ, because why the hell not? Beautiful. And let's just have a little listen to that in context, shall we? And now, very lastly, I know that Tom Morello isn't really known for metal. I mean, the music he makes is heavy, but really he's much more rocky in terms of his guitar style, and it's never particularly heavy when it comes down to it. But I wanted to see, does the amp have enough juice to get some pretty chuggy heavy stuff too? I feel like it does. So all I've done, just very quickly, so you can kind of have just a little bit of listen to it, I've just whacked on the amp. I've cranked it so it's, it's probably the heaviest it's going to get. He doesn't have any boost pedals in this, so I'd say if there's one thing that it could probably do, if there's maybe a boost pedal, just to have a little bit more of an option in there. But if that's not something he uses, so that's why it's not there. But I've got a few here, and you can just have a little listen to what it sounds like and how heavy it can get. Here it comes. This is just coming out of that same section you were just hearing, but with some heavy guitars too. Okay, Okay, so I think it's safe to say that you can get some heavy sounds in there too. And one thing about this, like I've said, is it's a Marshall, and it's a really good Marshall. It's just a fantastic sounding Marshall. And Marshalls are very versatile just in their nature. They have a certain sound about them. That's why people gravitate to them. But yeah, you can get some heavy stuff there too. So I would definitely be interested in actually, when you're tracking with a boost pedal, to go into that to see what that sounds like. I'm very interested to hear how well it responds to a boost pedal going in. But anyway, there we go. I think that is pretty much a rundown of the whole plugin so far. And there we have it. I hope you found that useful. Like I say, the amp is really, really good. It's a fantastic amp in itself, but where I find this plugin really excels is in the pedals. The whammy and the dive bomb and that phaser, and just the really cool sounding delays and reverbs are really where it comes into its own. And that's where you really get the Tom Morello sound. Not that we're necessarily going to be trying to rip off Tom Morello's sound, but just having those tools to play with to try and create something quite creative with the guitar, I think you've got everything you need right in this plugin. So well done, Neural DSP. It sounds like you've just smashed it again. So nice work. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.